Hello, I'm Kevin Hunter, and thanks for joining me here on this edition of Streetwise as we discuss rebuilding and restoring credit. Don't feel alone if you're in this category. Over 70 million Americans fell into this category in recent years because of economic issues, job losses, etc. You could well be one of them. Many people fall into what's considered bad credit, poor credit, subprime, or deep subprime credit. These are all the scores that fall between 300 and 600 points on the FICO score, and that's the range of 300 to 850, which is a typical scoring range. Joining me out of Minneapolis-St. Paul is John Mackey from Master Credit Solutions. And John, you have recommended to many people, many consumers, to get a $200 or $500 loan from a local credit union and help rebuild their credit today. You've talked about this extensively, shared a little bit about your background and why this is so important to Americans today.
Okay, small personal loans are essential in rebuilding your credit. Credit scoring, and I'm a FICO certified professional, but FICO scoring has to do with 5 items, one of which is your active installment loans and revolving debt. Now, revolving debt is very easy to explain as credit cards. What most people don't understand is that for a FICO score, you must have balance between your installment debt and your revolving debt. The beauty to a credit union is that you need a minimal amount of money, much less than a bank, and you paying yourself back. So it's giving yourself the money and then borrowing it back and then paying that loan off. I have seen scores go up 15, 20 points a month. I've seen it go up to 60, 70 points over a 3-4 month period. A credit score is a snapshot of how you're credit worthy at this time. And by maintaining by maintaining that those payments, you're showing the credit bureaus and the creditors your ability to repay a loan. And it's extraordinarily simple with a credit union. That's the key to this.
Recently, I had 3 people in studio with me here that are local citizens of the Longview, Washington area, and they went to Mint Valley Federal Credit Union and did exactly what you've recommended that consumers do. Let's hear what they have to say. So Dave, you went through the process with Mint Valley Credit Union, applied for a small loan and got started, and you did this to help build additional credit on top of where you're at.
That's
so
exactly what it's about.
Talk about the process of what it was like to go through that.
The process was I just went in and asked to get a loan, thinking that I was going to get turned down like I do everywhere else. And to my surprise, the very next day I walked out with $500 I was asking for, or pretty much what I was asking for, which is fair. Paid off some bills, and here I am 6 months into it. It's almost paid off. I could pay it off right now if I wanted to, but I want to stretch it out, get that credit built.
Sure. Now, you mentioned that you've seen a nice benefit to your credit because you've been tracking your credit monthly since you opened this up, right?
I do.
And what did you tell me you saw just in the last 30 days alone?
7-point increase in my credit.
That's fantastic.
And then, it reflects every payment. It reflects every month.
That's awesome.
So it's looking good.
So what recommendation would you have for somebody out there who's maybe intimidated by the banking process because they have been told no many, many times? What recommendation would you give them?
I'm the one right here. I'm the one that shouldn't be extended any credit to, and they're giving me an opportunity to prove myself. And if I can do it, anybody can do it.
It was less than 24 hours because I called like today, and then the next day I was already there signing papers and getting the money. So it helped me. If I didn't have that money, I don't know where I would be.
Now today, here we are this many months later, and the business has been up and running. It's thriving. It's doing well. Every time I've either gone by there or picked up food there, it's
busy.
It's doing really, really well.
Yeah.
You have to be ecstatic with it. Martin Wegdahl has also joined me in studio, and Marty, you went through the process with Mint Valley Credit Union, applying for a personal loan. Talk about how that process worked out for you.
Well, that process, Kevin, turned out really amazing, and I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for introducing me to Mint Valley Federal Credit Union.
Sure.
Because I took out 4 or 5 months ago. I took out a small loan, And I paid it off early,
Mm-hmm.
and it's really helping me rebuild my finances. That's my goal, is to really, really, really rebuild my finances and just get them super strong.
Now, you mentioned to me that you've been tracking your credit on a monthly basis now since the beginning of all that.
Yes.
And you've seen a really nice improvement on your credit score.
Yeah, it just keeps going up and up and up.
So what advice would you give for somebody who is kind of intimidated about the banking process or process with a credit union and maybe thinks they don't qualify? What advice would you give to them?
The advice I give them is don't be intimidated, because there's institutions out there like Mid-Valley Federal Credit Union that will take a chance on you, and maybe others won't, but they will. So go in there and talk to them and say, hey, this is what I'd like to do. These are my goals. I want to rebuild my finances. And they'll run the numbers and see what they can do for you. And I mean, the chances are pretty good. They can help you.
John, you just heard what the three people shared that went to Mint Valley Federal Credit Union and opened up their personal accounts. One individual was a person who opened up a local business here, Junior's Tacos. And you heard what they had to share. With all the professional experience that you have dealing with consumers that have gone through a similar kind of process and seen similar results, is it your opinion that Mint Valley went above and beyond for these three people?
Absolutely. That's what they're doing. They're taking and they're looking for ways to approve people instead of looking for ways to deny people. And the key that I would take away from this is, even if you get rejected by other places that may reject you, don't stop. Keep on attempting to do it, because each credit union is separately owned as a nonprofit entity. And what they do then is that they have their ability to set their own criteria for loaning money to individuals. And if they feel trust in you, they will help you.
A special thanks to Amanda from Mint Valley Federal Credit Union, to John Mackey from Master Credit Solutions, to Dave Ivey, Martin Wegdahl, and of course Junior Lopez, who joined us here on the broadcast to talk about building and restoring credit and the value that it represents for these individuals moving forward. If you're one of those 70 million Americans that fit in that category of needing to build and restore your own credit, get started today. Get in touch with somebody like Mint Valley Federal Credit Union and get restoring your credit now. It makes a difference to everything from auto insurance to renting to getting a phone to you name it. Credit has to do with everything. Get started on building and restoring your credit today. I'm Kevin Hunter here on Streetwise. Thanks for joining us.